first of all, I must tell you in the very beginning that we'll try our level best to give you some functional output, meaning I'm hoping that at the end of the session, you at least go with some ideas. And it is not one-way traffic, meaning as a facilitator, I'm not an instructor here. So as a facilitator, I also hope to gain from your ways of doing things. So that's what I would like to mention first. Regarding my professional activities, I'm very much interested in the use of technology in language learning. That's what I specialize in. A bit of my professional background, I have 2 MAs, one in English literature and another on MA TESOL and ICT from the University of Leeds. And part of the second MA was to look at the various ways of how we can not only use technology, but also integrate them in our classroom situations, in our professional development. I'm also actively involved, like some of you here, in teacher associations. The reason is very simple, because I believe that the teachers' associations can support the professional development of teachers in a much more befitting manner than perhaps the government can, because government has got the money and we have got the intent and we have got the community. So the power lies in our hands. We'll be talking about those associations later in a session. What I actually intend to do with this particular workshop, I'm not sure about your professional background, so I'd spend a couple of minutes knowing each other, right? So if you just tell me from where you are, what sort of things you teach, then that will help me to focus in a better manner. So starting from you, ma'am.
I'm Dr. Lata Malina. I teach English literature in an affiliated college.
Okay.
At the MG University, Kerala.
Right.
I'm doing my second PhD in women's studies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested in the topic.
So do you use technologies? We'll find it out. Okay, thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Rachel Oda. I'm from Tokyo, Japan.
Oh, great.
Yes. And I just came to India 2 months ago.
Oh, great.
I'm in Pune right now.
Okay.
Pune.
Uh-huh.
And currently I'm in a process of building this joint venture with an Indian company in Magarapata, Pune. And in Japan, I work for this company called the Japan Institute for Educational Measurement, which what we do is we create any kind of tests in Japan, like national tests, international tests. And there's this one English assessment test, online English assessment test called the CASET. And it's getting huge in Japan. So I was just wondering if it works out in the Indian market. And since to promote this product, I need to understand more about the Indian education.
Okay, that's what you are doing. Great. Yes.
I'm Jaideep Sarangi from Calcutta. I teach language, literature, linguistics in Calcutta.
I'm Maya Menon from the Teacher Foundation, a Bangalore-based organization. We do a lot of intensive work in looking at in-service and continuing professional development of teachers. I'm particularly interested in social media for CPD teachers, and we have quite an active Facebook site that the Teacher Foundation has, where we try and look at how we could encourage continuing professional development.
Yes, if time permits, we'll go to your site also.
Yes, that's why I just thought I'll hook up later.
Okay.
If you want. But I'd love to see understand how to evaluate CPD using social media.
No, not the how to, whether we can.
Oh, whether we can. Okay.
Exactly, because there are many issues, right? Even with the conventional framework we use, we have many issues. So we'll have a kind of a comparative. Yes.
I'm Narshana Samaravira from Sri Lanka at the National Institute of Education, and my other part is, of course, I'm also from the English and Foreign Languages University Hyderabad. Thanks. I studied there.
Okay, thank you.
This is Vilmac. I'm a PhD resource scholar from Vincent Partner University.
That's great. Now let's start. I think you have the worksheet with you right now. Just have a look at the very first thing that I wish that we could do together, and including me. Let us look at some of the technologies and social media. Is there any confusion in your mind regarding social media? Because that's what I thought that those who will be attending, they are very much aware of this. But if anybody has any confusion about what social media is, so and so, please raise your hand if you are not aware of what. You don't know. Okay, that's fine. Do you know what media is? You know, give me one example. TV, radio, okay. So what's the purpose and function of media?
To communicate.
Okay, so social media is for social communication. That's very simplistic sort of things. We will, as we proceed, we'll go much into the much details of all these things. Now here are some of the tools some of you may be using. I'm not sure who is using what. Some of you may be using different things, right? So I have given a list of stuff. Some of you may be using, some of you may not be using. What I wish you to do, that to find out by talking to your partner, which one both of you are using, meaning your group is using, and also for what you are using them. So if you make a note of that in this blank space, then we'll take the discussion from there. So we have maybe 3 to 4 minutes to do that. If you need more time, please tell me that. So we have so many tools. These are tools I have listed. Tools and systems. If you are personally using them, if your institution where you are working or studying using them, so just can you mark them? We are looking at this. I have given a list of the social media tools that some of you may be using. I just want you to have a look and then identify that for what purpose you are using them. Just identify the tools you may be using and for what purpose you are using them. That's much. Yes. Any unfamiliar tool?
Yes,
for both?
I'm unfamiliar with certain things, like Vidler, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Those sort of things.
Okay.
There are a few I don't know.
These are actually video sharing things.
So we
Metacafe,
use this.
video, Vidler, Vimeo, YouTube.
Vimeo, YouTube we use.
Right. Reddit is also a bookmarking one. You can also share.
Yeah, okay.
So Reddit, StumbleUpon, these are all these things. You don't need to know so many things, but just we are just trying to know that what you are using, because some of the things are there which most of us are using. Some of the things are we don't use. Maybe for specialized use, or some people use. In some countries we use them. So, for example, use of tools are sometimes culture specific also. Say, look at in India and Brazil, people use Orkut, right? When it comes to Facebook, people use it all over the world. But when it comes to Orkut by Google, it is used in India and in Brazil, in some parts of Latin America. So why people like it, what sort of interface people like it, that's part of a big issue. Infrastructure, interactional design, interface design, all sorts of things are involved, what people wish to do. And also those who are in the Facebook, they also know that how fast Facebook is also changing. So just remember, if you are in Facebook for more than 2 years, so how Facebook was then used, what are the facilities were there 2 years back, and now what people are using it for. So that's what is actually changing. Have you all done with that? Okay. So regarding this group, can you tell me that which tools you are using?
Facebook, all for
Facebook for what?
yeah, it's all for networking.
All for networking. Right. Networking with friends or professionals in your area?
Even in LTI we have those groups.
Both, including LTI, means professional
Okay.
and personal.
Personal.
Okay. So professional and personal. The same account you are using for professional and personal. Okay. Very good. Anything else that you are using?
And on the side, this Skype, YouTube, because for sharing videos and pictures.
Okay.
Even Google Plus.
Yeah.
Google
Those-
Plus. What are you
Google Plus,
using?
Awkward,
What are the sort of things you are using from Google Plus?
We have this academic group there, research group I think.
Okay. So you are just doing a kind of a content sharing, information sharing stuff. Okay. Right. So I think the two keywords I find here is information sharing and content sharing. Both are not the same, but sharing is there. Okay. What about your group?
Yeah.
What are you using and for what?
In common, Facebook,
Yes.
then Orkut,
Mm-hmm.
Blackboard,
Mhm.
Skype, YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
and then I use Blogger,
Mm-hmm.
and
Just may I know that how you are using YouTube?
YouTube, of course, uploading and downloading video.
Okay. Are you using it your students or just?
Yeah, I use it with students.
Okay. So there are some teaching purposes. Pedagogical intervention is also there. Meaning, if you use certain things with. What about this group? Or you and?
I believe what spoke.
Okay.
No, you can talk.
Carry on.
Yep. We'll come to that.
I use LinkedIn for professional development,
Right.
and then the Google Plus
Mm-hmm.
and the Facebook for both networking and for professional development.
Mhm.
Then Skype for
Video
video
conferencing.
conferencing.
Talk.
At the same time, YouTube for uploading and downloading the videos, especially for
Right.
listening.
Hello. What about you?
Well, I use mainly YouTube for my students
Mm-hmm.
for teaching literature.
Mm-hmm.
Then Facebook, Outlook, laptop,
Mhm.
network. I read about Second Life for a paper presentation. I didn't join in, I just read about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a
Second Life, for those of you who have not used it, is actually a virtual world. If we had a faster internet access, and we can log in there, and we can simulate lots of things. Joomla is a kind of a content management software.
Yeah, so we use
So,
website
meaning
based.
it is usually web-based. So, if you have a server of your own, or if you hire a space and you want to design your website, you can upload it, install it, do things like that. A bit of specialized work is needed, specialized hand is needed. So is Drupal. Drupal, Joomla, these are all content management system, but not learning management system. Only Moodle and Blackboard is a learning management system. The essential difference between content management system and learning management system is, in learning management system, you can track learners' progress. Meaning, I get to know how many times my students access that content, how many attempts did he or she make to answer that particular question. So I get to know all these things. So we can track learners' progress. Something, if you are aware of, which may, you have a blog, and you can, for example, install Google Analytics, and then you can also have a record or tracking of all this information being sent to your email. So that can be done. What I gather from this discussion is quite simple as this, that some of you are using it for keeping in touch with friends, some of you are using it for your professional development, some of you are making very serious pedagogic use of it. So we have three strands here. The second task I actually had in mind is to use whether we are using it for professional development. Now, before we move into professional development, there is a big question for us, just to have a recap of what we mean by the word CPD. continuous professional development, which is a very big sort of an issue. What is CPD? Any guess?
Continuous or continuing professional development.
Okay, so keep updating my skills. Okay. So what are we actually talking about CPD? For example, you said something very...
I said it should be ideally it should be self-initiated.
So self-initiated, this is your point.
Self-evaluation. You are self-evaluating yourself.
Okay, I'm just taking your ideas. Self-evaluating. Yes, so updating is a very key word. Updating. Any other ideas?
So professional plus personal development.
That's great. Professional plus personal. What else?
It's a continuous process. It doesn't
So continue. No, it's actually reflecting. So I have continuous process. Okay. I think we have got enough right now to work with. Some of the definitions which I found while gleaning through websites and some of the documents are like this. The need for individuals to keep up to date and rapidly changing knowledge. So updating is keeping yourselves quite informed, keeping yourselves updated. So this is quite a key. Also updating with rapidly changing knowledge. Knowledge in your field, in your workplace, so many. For example, I teach English, so I need to know how I can use better methodology, what's the new methodology that I can use, what are the activities people are suggesting with ICT intervention that I may use with my students, or so and so. Some people were talking about structured processes to maintain, develop, enhance skills, knowledge, competence, both professionally and personally. So you have touched upon this also, professional and personal, very rightly. But I think maintaining, continuing, developing, and enhancing is meaning improving from where I am today. So obviously this means that when you think about a professional development activity, you need to know where you are. Okay, so unless you know that where you are, you cannot proceed further. So that's a very important part. Improving performance is interesting. This is another very long definition from the Chartered Institute of Management, UK. Effective CPD is a commitment to professionalism. It shows that you have taken personal responsibility for ensuring that you have the skills and knowledge necessary to meet the challenges of ever-changing world. So skills and knowledge, I think we are something we have to focus on. Skills and knowledge enhancement is actually another key word, I would think. The process should benefit the individual, colleagues, students, external sponsors. Here, I think some of the things we are only concerned about in our present CPD framework is we are just concerned about what is the impact on teachers, how I get to improve. But I have not seen any CPD framework in action currently in India which actually focuses on the impact on students. So we are missing that. We are not taking that. Anyone who is aware of any CPD framework which has been implemented in India, which actually takes into consideration the evaluation of students?
After the 6th pay commission
No.
has come up with the API.
No, that API doesn't take into consideration. I'm quite sure about it.
It does take.
How?
Yeah, because in that they have given a pro forma. That whatever the conferences and books and articles you have published, they give you
No.
Performances.
In the performance, I'm saying that whether we are, no, students actually. So, no, I'm sorry. I'm talking about the students here.
We've done some work where we do whole school interventions, usually funded by organizations. And in that case, we've had third-party assessment of evaluation of student learning outcomes in language and mathematics as a baseline, midline, and endline. So we have that as, that's like a one-off thing, but it's very difficult to track children's learning as improving as a result of a teacher's CPD. But we've tried to track it, and we've tried to see how teachers' change in classroom behavior and practice has resulted in student learning.
Exactly, and I think one way actually the administrators at the school level can easily do by looking at what the students are doing on the Facebook or such forums. If we can establish something, set up something only for educational purposes, meaning it's not just for networking with students, but with some activities. There is another definition, an activity in which the individual and the group interact to develop better models for practice, which preserve the best professional autonomy. I think here the key word is, of course, professional autonomy. This is something interesting because CPD needs to promote professional autonomy. Now, some of us actually quite aware of those who work at the higher educational institutions. We are quite aware of UGC framework, UGC guidelines for continuing professional development. Right. Now, does that foster professional autonomy? Is a kind of a thing we need to think about it. So what we actually mean by professional autonomy, reflective culture, encourages constructive cooperative change is a very intricate definition, which I don't want to focus more on this, but it has got a couple of interesting points. The point that I would love to here focus on is models for practice. So when we are thinking in terms of CPD, we need to come up with models of practice. So for example, how you are professionally developing yourselves, and those things, those best practices can be shared with others, and others may like it, develop it, modify it, whatever way. This is another interesting sort of a thing that I found. We call it SWAN. This is actually, I believe, is the key before we start thinking about our CPD. This is actually the process we go through. Things I do well, that's my strength. So I need to find out, I need to know that what I do well, or what I can do well. The next thing is what I can do better. That is things I could do better. That is my weakness. I need to improve upon that. So the professional development needs actually come from this analysis of these two things. I know, for example, I know that I can handle YouTube very well. But then what I could do better, what I'm doing now, I'm just downloading YouTube videos and taking those MP3 or MP4 files in my class and just running it. What's the difference between running a multimedia DVD, which we used to 5 years back or 10 years back, and having a kind of a downloaded file which we carry in our stick and run it? Hardly any difference. So then why we are using YouTube? Some people say, okay, YouTube has lots of materials, resource. I can show you that YouTube has certain other affordances which we can make use of. So if we don't know how to do that, in that case, that is my weakness, and I need to develop myself professionally, I need to work on that gap. Aspirations, what I want to do. Say, you may say, sir, I don't know how to use Facebook. So I want to set up a Facebook for my students, and I want to do that, or right. The other thing I really enjoy, that's my interests. Needs, what further developments I need to make. That's interesting to achieve my goals. So I feel that you have to keep in mind these 5 levels in order to proceed for your CPD. So we'll come quickly to some of the CPD frameworks, which are a bit intricate, but I want to foster the discussions from here. But I'll leave it right now here, and we'll take our discussions from here further. The first thing is, if you turn around your worksheet and you come to page 2, you feel that task 2 says, work in your groups in which once the group is using professional development and mention them in the following space. So which of these tools? Now let us be quite specific. We may be using these tools for varied purposes. Now let us be specific that for which purpose, which are the tools we are using for professional purposes. So can you please have a look at the first page? I'll look at some of the tools once again and just pick up a couple of tools which you are using for your professional development, now that you know what is professional development. For example, in LinkedIn, you can have that facilities. Also, there are tools on visual CV. So people are no longer using the kind of PDF-based CV. So you can just go there and put details. You can have your small video. So you can do all sorts of things. So things are changing.
You can ask for recommendations.
Yes, you can ask for recommendations, and I can tell you that, okay, you have been to my workshop and you were so good, you responded, I came to know about you. So we can do for each other, no problem. Things are changing very fast. So today, LinkedIn has all you can give some recommendations, but I think things are not far away when we have video recommendations, making it more, within quotes, authentic. Authentic is a very slippery term, because those who are in ELT, we know authentic is a very slippery term. Even one of my tutors actually have written in 2011 a paper on that, Richard Badger. Ah, goodness. And when I was doing MAT Sol, I wrote something. Oh, this will facilitate authentic communication. And Richard put a question mark saying, what do you mean by authentic here? So, what are the tools you have identified using for professional development right now? Anything? Give me names. I'll put them down here. Okay, so in your case, it is LinkedIn. Okay? Blogger, Skype, YouTube,
Google Docs.
Oh,
Moodle and LinkedIn.
Moodle. Okay. Anything else? From you? Anything else? Uh-huh. So Blogger is very popular. Okay, YouTube is very popular. Okay. Anything else?
You mean for CPD, right?
For professional development. Anything else? I want to finish this discussion part quickly so that we can have more show there, which is actually the real thing. This case, sort of thing. Yeah, anything else that you would like to add to this list? What about Facebook? Anyone using Facebook for professional development?
We all are a part of LDI.
Ah.
Facebook page.
Okay. L-type Facebook page. We'll try to have a look at it if time permits. What else? Anybody using wiki of any sort for collaborative sort of things? No. Okay. I'll talk about Wiki a bit and draw about my experience on that. Okay, what you can do.
I know people who use Twitter.
Twitter. Okay, that's great. It's a great microblogging tool. So you know people. There is someone sitting here, and not here, maybe Cherry. Cherry does a lot of stuff. Sadly, he is actually looking after those things. So he is not able to attend any session. He's just sitting in a room and giving this sort of things. But he is quite aware of what I'm saying. And I know that he is tagging, doing things, all sorts of things.
He can link up to all the sessions?
Yes, I think this is going live. Exactly. So now we have identified some of these things, and we know that there are some strengths of using them, and there are some weaknesses of using them. Can you tell me or identify some of the strengths and some of the weaknesses? That will be great if you can identify some of the strengths and weaknesses.
Strengths is you don't have to meet the person in real. People you want to.
Sorry, I would ask you to look at it from your professional development point of view. Meaning, for your professional development, what do you see are the affordances of these tools, and what are the maybe not so good, but a bit of negative sides of these tools?
I think the benefits for instance, if I use the blogger, it's a way for me to document my thoughts and experiences.
So you can document, you can connect, meaning network. Any idea? I think you are beaming with some of the ideas, if I'm not wrong.
No, even if you're sitting here, we can talk to some person who is an expert.
Okay, so you mean to say is a bit of a connection, establishing a sort of a connection, but at the same time is anytime, anywhere, that sort of thing. So anytime, anywhere. Anything else?
The multimedia part of it, the fact that you can put its text, audio clips, video clips, so it makes it very far more interactive than just text or just.
So use of lots of medias, media reach. Now here I have a couple of things to say, because you have raised the point, otherwise I would have missed it. This is a very fascinating area with me also, because I look at the digital literacy practices. That's basically my area of work. Look at practices, meaning what people are doing with Facebook. And not only what people are doing at Facebook, but looking at the level of discourses, the use of, say, for example, you have a blog, and how you are using emoticons, because you are using some of the signs, semiotics. So I'm interested to look at all these things, which is not the purview of the workshop. But what I'm saying is, one of the purposes of using these tools, of course, to enhance your digital literacy skill. Because digital literacy skill is something we require now. Literacy is no longer just the ability to read and write. Today, when you write an email, that is quite different from writing a print letter, because you can bring in all sorts of medias, hyperlinks, you can embed things. For example, in your Gmail, you're sending an email, you can drag an image, you can take a screenshot, you can drag the image, you can put some hyperlinks, you can even drop the link of a video. So you can do all sorts of things. So the kind of a rich text that we are coming up with is quite of an affordance. So from the professional development point of view, I feel, yes, we definitely can document things quite easily. We can archive things quite easily. Yes. The archival importance is tremendous, because you see, now in Facebook, the new Facebook mode, we have the timeline. So, yes, I can archive my things. I don't need to do much things. So, and that archiving is also part of CPD, the key dates and what you did. Excellent. So I'll take you through some of your, or you can come and log in and see some of your own things, and we can have a talk at how to do these things. If you look at this CPD framework, which I think some of you who are working in teacher education are quite familiar with, Kirkpatrick, he talks about 4 levels. One is reaction or satisfaction, learning or knowledge, behavior, performance, results, and outcomes. Any confusion here? Are you quite aware of what he is saying? What about reactions? For example, we teachers, we are here, and for example, I may ask you that, okay, where are you working? You say, I'm working in a school. Are you satisfied with the professional development opportunities or the training opportunities to keep you updated that you get in your schools? You said no. Or you said, yes, I'm quite happy with that. Then the second one actually focuses on the effect of training, whether there is any change in your attitude, whether there is any change in your skill level, in your ability, in your knowledge, because of the training that you have got. The next thing actually focuses on what is actually learned on the training, because most of us attend workshops, training programs, 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, 1 month orientation, refresher courses, and then the very important question is the third one, whether that has affected, what you have learned has affected your performance. And how do you understand that ability to use what is learned in the training? Now this is not so easy. The performance. How to track the performance? The only guide is your marking point is your students. Whether your students' performance have improved because you have attended a 7-day course with Kalyan Chattopadhyay. In that case, that is a professional development. Right? But Kirkpatrick has not touched upon the point. Others have done. Results, outcome, effects on parents, students, and colleagues. Forget about your colleagues. They are always jealous of you because you are attending a conference in Hyderabad. What about you, Darshana? Are your colleagues happy that you have come from Sri Lanka? Okay. This is Gus Keys Framework, which is a very long framework. I need to tell you because this is a conference presentation and you need to know that what are there. So Gus Keys Framework is a bit well stretched out. If you want this PPT, I can mail you if you just mail me later. Of course, it focuses on participants' reactions, participants' learning, organization support and change. This is something which is missing in Kirkpatrick's one. And this is something quite important one, whether your organization support your professional development or not. So for example, she looks after a school, and if she doesn't support her colleagues' professional development, only she goes to workshops and training programs, then this key is missing, and if that doesn't happen, then what will happen to the teachers who are associated? So this is something new, it's an addition. Others are the same, knowledge and skills, student learning outcomes. So student learning outcome is something quite important, even recognized by Gus Keys. And Gus Keys is not a fellow of today. He has done all this work in the 80s and 90s. But when you look at some of the CPD frameworks that we have in our schools and colleges, it's a shame that we do not take all these things into account. This is something I was talking about, timeline. How to keep record of your CPD key dates. You can do it in Facebook. Can't we? Think about this. What did you do? For example, I gave a conference presentation last week, and all these things are here. Why? Whether there's an expansion of knowledge, sharing of knowledge, enrichment of knowledge. What did you learn? So you may say in your Facebook, I went to attend the second international conference organized by so and so. I give presentations there. This is my picture. And also you can say, great, I attended the presentations of such and such people. You can tag them and say, I have learned all these things, and I'm thinking of implementing some of these ideas which I've got with my students, and I'm planning to do one workshop, organize one of the workshops in my institutions. So this is something, what did you learn and how will you use them? I've covered both. I'll do one workshop in my institution to do that, or I will arrange a presentation in my institution to tell people what actually I have learned by attending the conference. So this is, you can easily put a CPD record of yourselves in Facebook. When I thought about that what we can do in Facebook, and this is exactly we can do. The ideal thing would have been if we had access, all of you had access, Wi-Fi access and computers and everything here. We can start a Facebook group right now and start doing things. And then we can have a model of that practice which we can share. So that's the kind of a development out of this workshop. Right? What we need to cover. I'll come to this later on, but I think I have covered task 4 already. So I'll now go to some of this stuff which we have identified. We'll start with Facebook, looking at Facebook group right now and see how things move on. Facebook actually gives problems because of my settings when I'm accessing it from a different computer, but let's hope. First, I'll try to show you some of the things that people are doing on Facebook so far as I am aware of, and then you can come here and show things that you have done. So I'm taking you to the Facebook account of one of my friends, Dilip, and if you just look at what sort of things you are doing, say for example, let us come to the notes. There is one option where you can use notes. Now what I'm talking about is, if you just have a look here, notes, you see, he's raising an issue, what is literature, and people can comment. What you can do, for example, I can raise some of the questions. I can put some notes and we can share. For example, I can talk about using Facebook for professional development. I think that this is some of the ways that we can use Facebook, and you keep notes. And then you share with some of your friends whom you know are using Facebook for professional development, so they give further input. And then you have a kind of a collaboration, and you come up with a sort of a stuff. Something you can also do with Google Docs. You can start a doc, and you can do all sorts of things. For example, lots of our presentations and things are sometimes done through Google Groups. Let me quickly take you to say what actually we are doing with. So notes is one of the affordances, and then notes about. So you can keep notes about so many things if you wish to. This is what actually Dilip is doing, and he is doing great work with Facebook. So he is keeping notes about many things if you look at. This I find is quite an interesting use of the affordances of Facebook by one of the Indian educators. Right, I'm just looking at Indian educators' stuff. Unfortunately, we cannot show the timeline because of the browser and so. But you already know what the timeline is. It would have been great if I could show you my timeline. The other thing that I want to quickly take you to is, let me work with wiki space, telling you more about how we are actually collaborating. The connection is not that fast, but not that bad. Okay, I'm signing in. If I remember well, then it will work. This is I'll give you two examples of how actually I have used. I'm drawing upon my experience of using wiki spaces, which is a wiki which you can use for collaboration. You can create a class wiki for your students. You can create a class wiki for your own, a wiki for your own professional development. You can keep all the records, informations. For example, I can start a wiki and I can keep on adding stuff that I want to draw on for my presentation here, or maybe next month somewhere else. So I can easily do that. I can keep all sorts of photographs, etc., etc. So the only headache is I don't need anything to carry, not a big laptop or anything. The only thing is wherever I go, I must ensure that I have a web access. Otherwise, fine. So one is, this is ACE language conference. Someone told me about Second Life. Are you familiar with EVO courses run by TESOL volunteers? EVO, Electronic Village Online. TESOL actually offers Electronic Village Online courses every year, and they are free. Yes, so they're free. For example, this year I did one on multiliteracies with Van Stevens. I did one on Second Life the year before. So we also organized a conference in Second Life. So Second Life is a virtual world. Okay, so this is how actually we went for the conference organization. You can see second language, these are archives. What we did in 2008, 2009, these are committee members' details. So if I click on committee members' details, it will take you to a Google spreadsheet, which will take you further to the committee members' details. So we have all these details. Who are the committee members? This is my name, Len Horatio. If you are in Second Life, you can make me friend. This is my name. So these are some of the details. So just imagine we are doing a conference organization by using this. And this is a kind of a professional development for me because I get to learn how I can use this and I can keep a record of what we have done. For example, when I was in UK as a Hornby Trust scholar, Hornby Trust scholars are supposed to give a kind of a joint presentation for the IETFL conference. So we were 14 of them. And then we started working on, and I floated the idea that why not use a wiki space for that? Because some of us are in Brighton, some of us in Leeds, some of us in Warwick. So how to work on that? So this is exactly what we did. This is the wiki. So you can see that there are pages and files. Lots of things are there. We have images, lots of images. We divided them into two groups. Images from Kazakhstan. So you can have some fascinating images here or from different teaching learning situations and scenarios all over the world, represented by the Hornby scholars. Right. So, and the resource is with us. Is still with us. That's a great advantage. We are still having that resource with us. Now, I want to wrap up the session with the last bit of thing. 10 seconds, I would say. What do you think are the strengths and weaknesses of this technology? And can we use them for evaluating our CPD? Any thoughts? As I close in all this sign out form. So drawing from you, I would suggest we need models of practice. And perhaps benchmarking those models of practice and sharing among our colleagues. So one of the things teachers associations or enterprising teachers or those who have been in these workshops can do, you can model some of the practices. Yeah. Right, for example, this is what I tell Dilip, as I know him personally, that look, you are doing all these things, but you are not modeling them. So model those practices and share with your colleagues. So this is what I am doing, maybe you can help me on that. So we have tremendous affordances because we can share, we can update, we can keep things, so we can archive, we can share, we can connect. So we can do all the three things we need to, right? And also we can cross-link. For example, I'm a teacher, what I'm doing in my Facebook, if the instructor, I have to give access to instructor, meaning the assessor, to look at what I'm doing. So he looked at my timeline. And then he may look at my institutional Facebook page where my students are. And whether because I have done some interventions with my students, whether their performance have improved or not, we can set up a mechanism, which is not very difficult to do, to gauge their progress. And then we can maybe think about ways and frameworks where we can link our own professional development with understanding how that has affected our students' learning outcomes. And unless we are able to link our students into the framework, I don't think that continuing professional teachers' development and evaluating them remains still incomplete. Thank you very much for coming over. This is my email ID, so if you have any thoughts, ideas, want to share with me, feel free to get in touch. Thanks again.